It's another beautiful Saturday morning, and we bid you welcome to the Morning Buzz. Good morning, Nigeria. We are here, right here on the Morning Buzz. Of course, you know it, Voice of the People Television. I am David Edwin, and I'm not alone this beautiful morning.
I am Adefunke Jaisimi. Good morning, David. Good morning, our beautiful viewers.
It's a beautiful morning. Well, you know how it is. We have to come here and, of course, inform our viewers on the recent and the most trending conversations.
Yeah, how do people start their weekend without people like us, staying in business to ensure that you have a wonderful one?
You know how it is now. I mean, we're here because you're there, and we're excited that you're always there. And we also say welcome to you. Well, interestingly, let's let you know what we'll be talking about this morning. Senate President Godswill Akpabio refuses to step down as Senate President and urges Peter Obi to resolve Labour Party's crisis first.
Well, let's flip it to the other side now. In a very sad event, 5 people have been arrested over abduction and murder of a 1-year-old in Kano State.
Well, these and more are what we'll be talking about this beautiful morning on the Saturday Morning Buzz. And of course, you know how we do it. We would also urge you to kindly visit our website if you haven't. But first, if you had not subscribed to our YouTube, of course, you know how to do that. On YouTube, we're at Voice of the People Television, and all other social media platforms, we are at VOP TV Live. Well, we also would urge you, like I said earlier, to visit our website, www.vop.ng, for fresh and trending stories. Well, of course, you know how we do it on Voice of the People Television. We would encourage you to also share your thoughts and reactions via our WhatsApp portal. The number, of course, you know, will be scrolling on the screen, but I'll call it for you, 0904-473-2605. I'll take that again, 0904-473-2605. Because with us here, your voice matters so much, and with us you have more than a voice. All right, let's get to our first interesting conversation that did trend yesterday. One of our trending conversations that, of course, did trend yesterday. A final year student of Ekiti State University, Helen Kayode, has been arrested for allegedly faking her own abduction to spend time with her boyfriend. According to the Ekiti State Police Command, Kayode triggered panic across Iworoko, Ekiti, and Ado Ekiti on May the 1st after falsely claiming via text that she had boarded the wrong bus and was kidnapped. Interestingly, police spokesperson SP Sunday Abutu confirmed the hoax went viral, disrupting public peace, and of course, investigation later revealed that the student had spent the night with her boyfriend in Ado Ekiti to celebrate her birthday, defying, of course, her parents' instruction to return to Lagos. Okay. She reportedly made up the kidnap story to avoid suspicion, and the Commissioner of Police, condemning the act, Joseph Eribo, warned that Kayode would be prosecuted, and of course warning that anyone spreading false information would face the full weight of the law. The command reaffirmed its commitment to safeguarding peace and security in the state. Well, I'm going to...
and that's a period.
I'm going to let you into our guest this morning because of this conversation. In fact, I want them to be a part of every single part of the conversation. We have with us this morning Mr. Peter Anosike, who is, of course, Voice of the People TV's in-house political affairs analyst, and, of course, an economist by profession. And we also have joining us all the way from Australia, virtually, Obinna Eyinaya, Nigerian media entrepreneur, CEO of 9 Communication Nigeria Limited. And I think we also have Honorable Pulevo joining us virtually from Plateau State as well. But when these people virtually join us, we'll let you into knowing their thoughts as well. But we have right here in the studio, like I did mention earlier, Mr. Peter Anosike, who is joining us in this conversation now. A very good morning to you, Mr. Pitanoski.
Good morning. I want to start with something that is disturbing me.
Okay. Go ahead.
Let's have it.
Adefunke Deshimi is a Yoruba person.
Right.
Anosike is an Igbo person. Where is David Edwin come from?
Well, we'll have to call a world press conference for me to unveil that to you. And of course,
it shouldn't be that serious. Actually.
It's very serious, like he's trying to mention. He said it's something that is quite.
So if it's something that is disturbing, I think you should just.
That's why I said we'll call a world press conference. I mean, I don't want to do that now, and then two other people will come and say, David, where are you from? Isn't that something?
We'll revisit that.
Good morning to you, Mr. Peter.
Thank you for having me.
Well, let's start the conversation of faking the kidnap just to see her boyfriend, Kayode Helen, did this one in Ekiti State. I did not want to hear Funke's voice because I know.
I didn't like the fact that you even said just. It's not just.
Okay.
Because if it was just, she wouldn't go as far as faking it. So there's more to that relationship.
Nah.
There's more to that experience than just. Okay. But I will allow the elder in the building to speak.
For me, it's a serious problem. Understand? What gives her such an idea? It's a crazy idea. Understand me? Imagine the kind of panic that she must have caused to the parents, the relations. I'm sure the parents will not sleep that night. So this is negative creativity. This is negative creativity. Okay. So I'm in support that she should pay for that. She should be punished for going that extra mile. There are other lies that she could have told without going to the extent of kidnapping. She used that for kidnapping because that's what's on the air.
Right.
That's what is raining in the country. So anybody, even people are even kidnapping themselves.
For ransom.
Understand me? So she could have even said that to get money and spend it with the boyfriend. Understand? Because once kidnapping happens, the next thing is ransom.
Right.
Understand?
Right.
So for me, I'm not happy. It doesn't show a well brought up girl at all.
Okay, now I like the fact that you did mention a well brought up girl conversation. Of course, what that simply means is you believe that the parents had raised her well. As it stands,
but they are still peer influence.
Peer influence.
Sure,
now, looking at the conversation that we have here, she is not a minor. She is an adult, well over 18 years.
A graduating student, actually.
So what that means is she is very aware of what she's doing. But let's look at the part where she possibly is looking at the perspective of my parents would not allow me see my boyfriend, and she had to tell that kind of lie. I know ignorance of the law does not mean absence of the law.
So she might have a very strict parents.
Right.
A parent that are deeply religious. If not, there's no way a graduate, understand me, that the parent shouldn't have been aware that she has a boyfriend. Understand me? So maybe her parents are very, very strict.
Okay.
So she has to invent something, understand, that would kind of allow her that understand me.
Okay, for me, I would say that it's beyond not being properly raised. We have a lot of parents that put in so much work, and at the end of the day, children choose to turn out the way they want to turn out, because trust me, you can't be in a child's life 24 hours all their lives. Okay. They will always be influenced, whether from school, from friends, from the neighborhood, and the kind of company they keep. She said, it was reported that she stayed back because her boyfriend had promised her a surprise birthday. Yeah, a surprise on that birthday. And her parents had insisted that she returned back to Lagos. As a graduating student, probably she must have been done with exams or whatever, staying back in school for some other reasons. So for her parents, might have been like, okay, what exactly are you staying back in Ekiti to do? But like you rightly said, there's no justification for ignorance in law. And I don't think that she's actually ignorant. It's just somebody that feels like, no, I just have to do this. And There are sides to this thing, David. You know what I'm talking about. There are so much things that a man can give you that your parents cannot give to you. It might not even necessarily be the gift. I will leave it that way. Okay. But for me, I think that she should be able to face the full consequences of her action. Because, like Mr. Anosike rightly said, there's a lot going on in the country now. When it comes to kidnapping, everybody's on the edge. Yeah. Everybody's agitated. Everybody's concerned. Everybody's worried. What if either of her parents passed before morning? Something else could have happened. If they had underlying ailments, yes, anything could have happened. The sister or trying to going to the police station, an accident could have occurred. Worse could have happened. So she should be dealt with, because this will serve as deterrent to other students that might be thinking of doing something like this. We've all been there, but there are so many lies. I mean, I can go on live on any social media platform to educate young girls on some of the formats we use to deal with situations like this. I mean, what happens to your friend is sick, you need to stay back in the hospital with her overnight and there's nobody here. I mean, no parent wants your friend to die. So there are so many things. What happens to, I'm having chest pain, I have panic attack and I cannot travel? What happens? So I'm not here to school you, but really, she should be dealt with.
I also want to come to Mr. Peter on the path of communication, parenting, and of course, the awards. Some persons have said you shouldn't be, in the name of civilization, you shouldn't be so strict with your growing teenagers. And of course, it makes them not want to get close to you to tell you things. In the path of communication, help Nigerians and the rest of the world understand, how should parents even do better so that their wards and their children can confide in them, even to tell them some very minute stories and truths?
Well, for me, there are ways. Now, we have son, daughters, and we have friends.
Right.
And that's in the family.
Right.
Now, if my daughter annoys me, understand, and she knows that I'm angry, after some, she'll come, Daddy, am I still your friend? Because I've schooled them the difference between a child and a friend. As a child, it is my responsibility to feed you, to send you to school, understand, to make sure that you are comfortable. Understand me?
Right.
Those are what I am what I am required to do. Understand? Making you comfortable. Right. Make sure you eat, you go to school. Understand? And you dress well. But being my friend, you must qualify. Being my son or daughter has no qualification. It's automatic because I gave birth to you. But being my friend, you must, that one has a qualification.
Okay.
Understand me? Just not, an instance, taking you to the fun city, understand me? Maybe taking you that to pizza, society will not condemn me. Understand me? For not doing that.
Right.
But if I don't send you to school, society will condemn me.
Okay.
So for you to be my friend, you must qualify. So my daughter doesn't care. Daddy, am I still your daughter? Automatically she is. But her concern is, am I still your friend?
But there are points the daughter might get to and you just feel you're not even my daughter anymore. Does that happen?
Understand me? So that I don't understand you.
I'm saying that, do you ever get to a point where you want the child, I mean, a child does something and you're like, it's not about friendship now, you're not even my daughter anymore?
No.
Okay. Well.
So in other words, there should be a father-friend relationship.
Sure. And when they are your friend, that they will be open to you.
All right. Okay.
Understand me? If you keep them at the level of a son, daughter, they will not be telling you things.
Okay, thank you very much for that response. It's important to understand that parenting is beyond father-daughter. There's also the gap of becoming friends, and which is very important in this century because a lot of young people do not understand the style of parenting that we experienced back in the day. But moving on, let's go to the next banter. This Saturday morning, talking about the Labour Party's Peter Obi, who is currently facing fierce backlash from both allies and critics over his recent comments questioning the 2012 for subsidy protest under President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. Human rights activist Omoyele Sowore, a key figure in the Occupy Nigeria movement, described Obi's remark as dishonest and outright dumb accusing him of attempting to whitewash history for political convenience. Sowore further alleged that Obi's former bank, Fidelity Bank, had links to corruption due to that era. Echoing the criticisms, prominent activist and Obi supporter Aisha Yesufu called out the former Anambra governor in a strongly worded video, insisting that public protest is a cornerstone of democracy regardless of who is in power. She argued that Obi's suggestion that protests were unwarranted under Jonathan was not only inaccurate, but also undermines citizens' rights to demand accountability. Both activists defended the 2012 protests as justified responses to the conditions of the time, warning Obi against dismissing dissent as a political inconvenience. On their part, Yesufu also stated that nobody protests for the future, while Sowore challenged Obi and his movement to show their credibility by organizing protests against the current economic hardship under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Obi was at an event in Abuja. I think it was a lecture in memory. It was a lecture on in memory of Edwin Clark, and he actually spoke about the labors of our heroes past being in vain. And we didn't see that coming, but suddenly, just moved from that conversation, and he spoke about how people attacked the then administration of Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, going out on the street to protest, saying that what they were going through at the time was not even as worse compared to where Nigeria is right now. And he asked the question that where are the people who protested at the time and what are they doing right now? And I think this was just more like a shade hitting Sowore and Aisha Yesufu directly or indirectly, because both were active participants in that protest. Right. And Aisha even was active. She was vocal all through Jonathan's administration because of the Bring Back the Girl thing. But in all of this, before we go to our online guest, let me ask you, Mr. Nosiki, what are your thoughts on the reaction from Aisha Yesufu, looking at how far they've come together? Do you think that this is about speaking the truth, or is Aisha not being realistic with the reality?
Well, for me, in 2012, our economy was suffering from malaria. But in 2023, our economy was suffering from stage 4 cancer.
Okay.
So the best time to remove that subsidy was in 2012, and not in 2023.
Okay.
Understand me? Because it is easy to treat malaria than to treat cancer.
So whose fault is it that they allowed the health case of the country to degenerate from a malaria that could be treated, in your words, because it also kills, to a stage 4 cancer?
So it is from that. Mind you, 2014, Nigeria was the biggest economy in Africa.
Okay.
Understand me? 2014, Nigeria was the biggest economy in Africa as a whole. But today, we are number 4 going to number 5.
No, I really want you to react
because Morocco is taking over from us very, very soon. So the best time for that subsidy to be removed was in 2012. That's why I strongly believe that protest was wrong.
So you've not still answered the question. Whose fault was it that the subsidy was not removed? Is it because of lack of political will, or Jonathan just lacked the grit to do what was necessary for the economy regardless of the chance on the street?
We have a situation where politicians condemn when you are in opposition, do when you are in power. Condemn when you are in opposition, do it when you are in power, which is what Tinubu did. Because Tinubu was part of that
process.
Exactly.
Process. Are you aware?
Of course.
Yes. Then why do you do what you have already condemned?
So what the question now
So
is?
what I'm saying is this. Aisha Yesufu, one, protest is part of our fundamental human rights. Understand me? It's a civic right. You must protest when you don't like what is happening. Understand me? So she felt justified in participating in that protest.
Okay.
Which would be condemned. Understand me? So for Sowore, I know Showore's own problem.
Okay, let me come to our guest. Let me come to Obinna Ejiaya.
I think it's honorable level. There's
we have two guests
with
online.
us. Yes. Okay.
All right. Can you hear me, Mr. Obinna?
Yeah, I can hear you very well.
All right. So looking at the response from Mr. Anosike now and the fact that, yes, Nigeria was in a better place economically in the year 2014 and decisions were not made at the time, and of course people protested and they are not doing the same now. In your opinion, do you think that the noise of the opposition should outweigh the decision of a president, of a leader to make tough decisions for the country at the time when it's due?
The situation in Nigeria politically, not of the economic condition in Nigeria. I think politically, Nigeria is in a comatose situation. I don't know, we are just getting close to dying. So, and you see that the voice of opposition is drowning by the day. Whenever anyone wants to say or have opinion that is not in line according to that flow of the government in power, it will seem bizarre. I mean, there was an article I wrote that was published on the Netflix and of course on Nigeria ago. I got tech politicians told me this is not what we're talking about.
Stop it. Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, the line is breaking. I don't know if you can move to a better position where we can get a more clear reception so we can hear what you're saying properly.
I mean,
okay, while you work on that reception, let me come back to you, Mr. Anosike. Okay, let's react to Sowore. On the part of Sowore, do you think this is a genuine concern, or Sowore is actually bitter that Peter Obi did not join his End Bad Governance protest? Because he actually led a protest, and it feels like Sowore is always out there waiting for Peter Obi to say something just so he can attack. So do you think these are oppositions working in the interest of Nigerians, or there's just something about these two people that we need to come to a round table to solve?
Sowore is my very good friend.
Wow.
I know him right from when he was in the university. He used to come to the Sun newspaper to see me, understand me. Even on the book that I'll be publishing soon, he commented on it. So we are very, very close. But he is bitter with Peter Obi because he feels that the youths that are supporting Peter Obi ought to be supporting him.
Oh.
Understand
Why did you
me?
say this?
That is his anger about Peter Obi. Why should Peter Obi carry the youth instead of him? Because he is supposed to be the candidate for the youth. But Peter Obi has become the candidate of the youth.
So you think his comments are malicious on the part of
It
not
is
having
malice.
the people?
I've told him that over and over. I have told him that you don't need to be bitter about Peter Obi. Understand me? Rather, he is fighting for the interest of the country. You too should also join in this struggle, spirit of sportsmanship.
Join the struggle. Can they
For a better Nigeria.
Do they necessarily need to come together?
Without, they say united we stand. A people united can never be defeated. Without unity, this thing that is happening in this country will continue to happen. So those who are sincerely, genuinely in the opposition should come together. I say sincerely and genuinely,
yeah.
because a lot of them in the opposition are hypocrites working for the ruling party. I was in the labor movement for more than 10 years, so I know who is who in the labor movement.
All right, because of our time, we'll have to call it a wrap on the banter segments this morning. We'll be going on a quick break right now. When we return, we'll be looking at the front pages and of course, what the national dailies are saying this beautiful morning. You definitely know how we do that. You know, we definitely need you to be a part of this. You can be a part of this conversation by joining, of course, all our social media platforms and letting your voice be heard on the comment section. We'll go on that quick break right now. When we return, we'll be looking at the front pages in just a jiffy. Stay with us.
Glad to have you stay with us on the Morning Buzz on the most exciting breakfast show on television every Saturday morning. And it's time to move straight to the newspaper headlines. So top on the cover page of the Saturday Tribune. Man rapes 12-year-old daughter of woman friend in Ondo State. The story is available on page 29. And in Ibadan, a woman tells court, my husband laced her floor with charm, dared me to cross it. On JAMB 2025 UTME, JAMB withholds 39,834 results for exam malpractices. And the top story on the cover page of the Saturday Tribune, available on page 4, says PDP sets to drag defectors to court, loses 3 more senators to APC. At Awolowo's 38th Memorial Anniversary Service, clerics advise ask leaders to build enduring legacies. And finally, on the cover page of the Saturday Tribune, youths flock to cocoa farming as price surge. This story is available on page 6.
Okay. We just have to get the opinions and views of our analysts this morning. Mr. Obina, I understand that right now we can get you clearly. We know that Mr. Obina is joining us virtually all the way from Australia this beautiful morning. All right, once again, good morning to you, Mr. Obina.
Good morning.
All right.
I hope you can hear my voice now.
Yes, we can hear you clearly now. So which of these headlines do you want to react to? Because my colleague here just read out quite a number of those headlines right there at the front page of Saturday Tribune. Which of these do you want to react to?
Okay, I will personally like to react to the issue that is in Nigeria, which is defection. That is the rhetorics of the day.
Okay.
People are moving, politicians are moving from one party to another, and of course to the ruling party. And that is so asiatic, talking of democracy. I've never seen such a thing, and I have thinking of in my own mind, how politics is being played in Nigeria. Having stayed in Western country for a decade, when I'm back to our country and see what is going on, sometimes it's nauseating. It's not laughable, but it's pitiable. Yeah, because what I don't understand what's pushing people from one party to the other in just a stroke of the finger, So I wonder if there was any ideology that those politicians were, nurturing in themselves, that they have to change swiftly overnight. So, and I think the polarization of political landscape in Nigeria is that of is something that is awesome.
Okay. Oh, let's come back to the studio. Mr. Peter, I do not want to continue with this headline that he's reacting to.
No, my concern is the UTME result.
Okay, so let's have your thoughts.
About 1.9 million took the UTME last month,
Right.
and only 427,000 scored beyond the 200, which means 1.5 million failed.
By the calculation, yes.
Sure, 1.5 million did not get above up to 200. So who are we to hold responsible for this? Is it the children or or the school or JAMB itself? Okay. Because for me, in recent times, this is the worst JAMB result that I've ever had. And what I read yesterday was 399 pending, not seized. Yeah. Understand me? So what really is the problem? Because when you check that the percentage is nothing to write home about, are we now saying that the standard of education is going down?
I think that's what it is. Because if you say that this is the worst, last year the same was said when results were released, that was the worst. So it feels like every new day, there's always something that makes us drop the ball when it comes to the standard of our academics. But your questions are valid. Who is to blame?
How are we now getting 120 people making a first class in the universities?
So from those that actually passed the exams to make it into the university, it feels more like there are exceptional students regardless of what the percentage is, putting the statistics, the ratio between success and failure together. For those that made it to cross to the university, there are outstanding students that actually still do well. But that question you asked is something that we really need to look into, where the problem is. Because speaking to the best graduating students of LASU, I think some two weeks back, she talked about how it's effortless for her to succeed from her primary school days. So we have people that are actually sound academically, no matter what the situation is. But let's come to you, Mr. Obina, once again. How do you react to the mass failure talking about education in Nigeria?
I think talking about the education in Nigeria educational system is very sound, I would say, because if you look at Nigerian students who migrate to Australia, they become one of the best. And yes, I will blame the system temporarily for that, not the students themselves, because you must, if you pass through Nigerian education system, you know that Nigerian education system is that of a very rigorous and rigid one. A student who passed through Nigerian university, when they come to the Western countries, it's like eating amala with egusi. So it's easy. That's my take on that.
All right. Now, I wanted to stay with, before I go to the next paper, I wanted to come to, let's come to Mr. Peter. You did mention the UTME exams. And interestingly, I don't know if you're aware of the situation that JAMB asked students to come out that early, the early hours of the morning.
For that examination. The first paper starts 6:30 a.m.
Looking at that alone, isn't that a prerequisite to pressure on the young mind of a student? That's one. Secondly, it is a CBTS exam, which means they have to go through a computer. A computer that the secondary school that they've been for almost 6 years might possibly not have.
Especially those in public school.
Especially those in public school. Do you think that the environment already has not created a platform for failure for these students going into this examination itself?
Well, I know of, because that's what they call Ibeneri, that's outside Okoko, which was one of the centers. There was somebody that's from Aja, understand me, and was posted there. She was crying. She got there around 9. Why she supposed to take a 6:30? So she was, but they had mercy on her, and she entered there for the 9 a.m. She was crying when she was entering. That she started crying from the bus, and they even used Okada that because that early in the morning when she was leaving, there was no vehicle on the road.
Right.
So Okada has to bring her to VI from Aja.
Wow.
Understand me? So from there, she now boarded a bus to Orinde area because it was Badagry Road.
Right.
So when she was taking her time, she was crying until she got there around 9 a.m. So how do you expect this person to do well in the exam? So for me, that 6:30 a.m. is too early for anybody.
I think that's a valid point, actually, because even the state of mind is already...
I mean, if the state of mind is defeated, how then would you want to write the examination?
For you to take exam by 6:30, you must wake up around 4 a.m. and
Depending
start
on where you're even
preparing.
coming from, because if you're coming from Aja, there's no way you will have gotten to Badagry.
Another conversation, before I jump off this, let's talk on the part of the parents. If you have seen that JAMB has sent a communique out there for your child to be at the examination hall by 6:30 a.m. and the parents did not protest it, the parents also feel it's about a good time to get to the location of the exam.
Does lectures happen by are there 6:30 lectures in the campus?
There are questions being raised about the fact that why did parents
parents actually
against it?
Parents actually protested. So the problem with things like this is a lot of things make it to social media, but people exactly. It won't because of the number of people. Exactly. When you post something on social media, there is a possibility of it getting wider reach when more people react to it. But in a nation where there are a lot of clout chasing on social media and the situation, people want to push what suits their bias. And at the end of the day, because I know a few parents that complained about this.
Complained and did not go to the head office of JAMB.
Okay.
Well, maybe they didn't go to JAMB office.
Next time, occupy JAMB office.
Okay, that would have been a better thing, not just rant on social media.
That would have been a better way to get about their grievances about the timing. Because like we did say, the environment itself and the timing has defeated the mindset of a child who wants to write the examination.
For me, the problem will be with the computer system. Understand me?
Okay.
The problem will be because most of those children don't know how to make use of those computers.
Especially those from public school.
Because if you go through those questions, most of them were repeated questions.
Yeah, some of them said the same. And somebody even said that the questions did not have the answer. So I think the problem was understanding how to use
operate those systems.
Yes.
Oh well, let's have your thoughts, Mr. Obinna, in less than 30 seconds on this same JAMB situation. In less than 30 seconds before we jump to our main conversation this morning.
Yeah, like I said earlier, the issue is on the system. As you can see, even judging from your various opinions, the system, not the students, because I know Nigerian students, I know that they go through a lot. So it's the system. I blame JAMB, I blame the infrastructure, and I blame just the system entire, not the students, for the poor performance.
All right. Thank you so very much, Mr. Peter, for that thought. Well, let's get to the main conversation proper. Senate President Akpabio refuses to step down as Senate, of course, the president as Senate President, but urges Peter Obi to resolve his party's crisis first. And when he says his crisis, I'm talking about Labour Party's crisis. These and more we'll be talking about after this quick break. We urge you to stay with us.
Good morning. It's the start of a beautiful day. Or start your day right with a healthy dose of news, fun, and inspiration. Join us on VOP this morning for the latest news, trending topics, and uplifting stories to set your day on the right vibe. From news and current events to lifestyle and entertainment, you are covered.
VOP this morning, 8 a.m. Monday through Friday.
I'll be back. It is still the Saturday Morning Bulls right here on Voice of the People Television. Let's get to the main conversation proper. Senate President Godswill Akpabio says he has firmly rejected any suggestion that he considers stepping down from his position over the sexual harassment allegation made by suspended Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan. Addressing the Senate during Thursday's plenary, Akpabio made the statement in response to a vote of confidence from Senate Majority Leader Senator Michael Opeyemi Bamidele. Akpabio likened the situation to cases of false accusations against black individuals in the U.S., stating, "I am not one of those people who step down over false claims." Meanwhile, Akpabio receives backlash on X over a jab he threw at Peter Obi, urging him to focus on resolving the internal crisis within his party before aspiring to lead Nigeria. The Senate President contrasted Obi's track record with his own achievements in governance, citing infrastructural development, investment in health and education, and religious unity efforts during his time as governor. A video was posted on X calling him out for covering up fraudulent practices in his past. Well, the video, of course, I believe we'll have that video. Okay, now this was when he was the chairperson of the NDDC, and this video was, of course, according to one of the member of the NDDC. Let's just have that video play, and of course, we will return back to you shortly.
Any payment in NDDC without Godswill Akpabio's approval. When we first came to NDDC, on the day of going for the inauguration, he told me in the car that, "Madam MD, if you don't do what I say, the same pen with which I used to sign your letter, it will be the same pen that I will use to remove you." He said the first thing I should do when I get to Port Harcourt is to change the dollars in the NDDC account. I was scared to do that. After that, he came to Port Harcourt 2 days after the inauguration. He said the first thing I should do is to make sure I change the dollars. I should remove Mr. Kaltungo from being legal and send him on compulsory retirement, that we cannot have a northerner be the head of the legal team, of the legal unit. He said I should remove all the other directors that refused to take his instruction during the time of Mrs. Agwagaga. That was the predecessor before I came. So he came also with a draft, which I've submitted, with a draft letter that I should write and put it on my letterhead, implicating Senator Mwobushi for collecting contracts in NDDC. I told him that I will not, I'm a lawyer, and that whoever alleges must prove. The fact that Senator Mwobushi is giving us trouble as IMC, you remember also that they did not recognize the IMC. I said I will not do that letter. He said I was ungrateful and I refused to do the letter. Dr. Cairo now said that he will do the letter. If Akpabio tells him to kill, he will kill before he asks, why did he kill? I said, for me, I will not do the letter. At that place, there was Mr. Etiebet, who was the only staff of the NDDC that was present at that meeting. When he finished, he now asked Dr. Cairo to go and send for the letter-headed paper from the office. They now sent for the letter-headed paper. Dr. Cairo now did the letter, which I've also submitted to the committee, alleging that Senator Mwobushi had contracts. Then he said, I must sign the cover letter. I said, if I sign any document from me seen by Mr. President, he will believe every line of it. So I will only write that the EDP, who should know about projects, has gone. The next thing that he told me, he said, I must make sure that all these people leave and that the procurement, because apparently Akpabio, before I came, when himself and Festus Keyamo were ministers, their first meeting at the commission, he was awarded 30 contracts for distilling and water hyacinth. Mr. Linus, who was the to sign because it did not follow due process. He also said that I should implicate the chairman of the House Committee, because the chairman of the House Committee had gone to Ondo State for a meeting to plan against him. Water hyacinth and distilling. They said that the budget for water hyacinth and distilling was, I think, for about 3 to 5 billion. I'm not sure exactly how much. But that the NDDC, before I came, had overstretched itself to about 50 billion for water hyacinth and distilling. And so the National Assembly had written us, they have it also, they had written us that we should not pay for anything like that. He said, and guess what? Akpabio never signed.
This is the visuals, of course, of the allegation by former MD of the NDDC. I'm talking about Madam Joy Nunwe, who is from Rivers State, and of course, she's also putting out several allegations there against the Senate President when he was the the Minister of the NDDC. Well, we have with us in the studio Mr. Peter Anosike, like I said earlier, who is also joining us in this conversation, and all the way from Australia, Mr. Obinna Einaya. Well, I'm going to come to the studio. Mr. Peter, knowing for a fact that according to, I don't want to say the trend, if you are the presidential candidate of a party, you are more like the party's leader. Now, the person of Peter Obi has been in the party, I'm talking about Labour Party, and there's been several crises rocking that party, from the Lamidi Papa's faction to the Abure situation, back and forth like that. And of course, leading to Kenneth Okonkwo's leaving the party as well. Looking at the fact that the Senate President came out to say, face your party, deal with the crisis in your party first before talking and saying that I should recuse myself, is that even worthy enough for anybody to say in defense of himself? And I'm talking to the person of the Senate President, who, of course, you know, is supposed to be under investigation when it comes to the sexual harassment allegation as levied against him by Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan. What's your position in all of this situation, Mr. Peter?
Well, I will start with him comparing his achievement in the office and that of P2B.
As the governor?
As the governor.
Okay.
One, if you go on the allocation list in the country, understand, Akwa Ibom is among the first 5.
Who gets higher allocations?
Higher. Anambra is among the last 30. Understand me? So there's no way I'll be giving 1 billion naira to work and you are giving 1 million naira to work and you do more than me. Simple. Understand me?
Okay.
Lagos State, our papa is richer than the whole of Southeast in terms of GDP. Etiosa is richer than the whole of Southeast with regard to GDP. So when people are comparing development in Lagos and the other areas, I feel that they are vagabonds. They don't know history. They don't know economics. Understand me? So there's no way somebody from a governor of Akwa Ibom, a governor from Anambra can compete with that of Akwa Ibom with regard to development based on the resources available. Understand me? So what we would now be talking about is the issue of prudence. That's managing resources.
Okay.
Understand me? And we know that talking of managing resources, it will be like comparing light and darkness. That comparing P2B and Akpabio. P2B left 75 billion naira for Anambra State. Understand me? He left Anambra in green. Akpabio left Akpabio in red. Understand me? That are the two issues. Then on the issue of resigning, anywhere in the world, if you are heading any office and you are accused, the first thing to do is to resign, not to interfere with the investigation.
Okay.
Because once you are still holding that position, or your presence, your office will interfere in the investigation. But Akpabio is shameless.
Okay. Now you think
Akpabio is very, very shameless.
now
It's a pity that we'll be having that man as number 2 citizen. When somebody is telling the truth, you will know.
number 3%.
Number 3, understand me, he's
Right.
number 3.
Right.
President, Vice President, Senate President.
No, you initially said 2. That
You
was
initially
why I
said
3.
2. That's why he said
Okay,
number 3.
even though they have just Shetima away.
That's
Understand me?
your opinion.
That's your
That's
opinion.
your opinion.
Mr.
The
Mr.
chairman
And
doesn't feel that
number
way.
2 is currently not in existence. So when somebody is telling the truth, you will know. Understand? You will know that the acting MD of NDDC was telling the truth. When you are telling the truth, you call names. People who were present, and she was calling names to show that what she was saying is the truth.
All right. I'm going to just hold you on that. I'm going to go straight to Mr. Obinna. Again, you would recall that a lot of persons have asked that the Senate President do step down in order for very clean and, of course, proper investigation to be carried out. You would recall that a couple of days ago in Ghana, the President of Ghana also, well, I don't want to use the word sacked, suspended the Chief Justice of the Federation, which caused a kind of rally in that country. Let's talk to the position of office holders who are being investigated for one particular situation, allegedly, or the other. From your position, do you also think that the call for the Senate President to recuse himself from his position for proper investigation to be carried out is a noble call? If you think that's the major call, what can be done for Nigeria's political landscape not to have people of questionable characters when it comes to how we, bring representatives who will represent us in the country?
So, Akpabio issue is just a clear example of the kind of people we have in the helm of affairs in leadership positions in Nigeria. Akpabio is synonymous, he's prone to controversial issues with women. And it's not the nature of Nigerian politicians or people in office to resign when allegations are raised against them. And that is one of the problems we have. People are not held accountable. People do things the way they want. And watching that video where he's, pompously saying that he is not that kind of people that can chicken out to resign. And he's saying it knowing that such thing doesn't happen in Nigeria, where a person of high position is accused of any malpractice or has any kind of issues that will make him to resign. They don't resign. Instead, they fight the situation, or they change their political party and get the grace to continue. So I was not surprised seeing Akpabio remaining in office in the midst of those scandals and accusations that he has been known for. And talking about P2B as well, I don't know if you're going there.
Yes.
But okay.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, talking about P2B as well. I think he made a sense in saying that P2B should put his house in order, even though P2B thinks that he's working under the platform of the obedient movement. He has become a party member with the Labour Party, and he should have done his homework very well. He should galvanize the status quo, the momentum in Labour Party. Even if he's looking elsewhere for the next election, he should also try and make Labour Party a good political party platform.
Okay. Again,
But APC are the ones sponsoring the crisis in Labour Party.
I'm gonna,
APC, APC, Akpabio, and others are the ones sponsoring the crisis in Labour Party.
You don't have facts
all
to
right.
back this
We
up.
understand also that Honorable Pulevo has joined us all the way from Plateau State. Good morning to you, Honorable.
Good morning, sir. It's my pleasure from Taraba.
Oh, Taraba today.
Taraba
Amazing.
State,
Okay, okay. Let's get you to the conversation. You have been following us all through. Let's have your opinion on this particular topic. Well, let me give you a hint of what we're talking about. We're talking about the Senate President saying, I am not going to step down from my position for investigation to be carried out proper. I'm not one of those people from the West who do step down whenever they are under investigation. He also did say to the presidential candidate of Labour Party, Peter Obi, that he should put his house, that's the Labour Party, in order rather than put his mouth and his opinion on things from other political parties. What's your position in all of this conversation, Mr. Pulevo?
Wow, thank you very much. For me, that is to tell you the extent to which our democracy needs a lot of reform. That's the number 3 citizen of the country talking this way, no integrity, no sense of disposition to uphold morality in the democratic process, because you cannot be a judge in your own case. It's not even others saying it, you coming out outrightly and saying you will not step down. That tells you the extent to which Nigerians and the Nigerian state is taken for granted by few individuals. And that is why over time I've been advocating that much of what we need is even not coalition of political parties, but coalition of the citizens of this country towards standing up and challenging some few individuals who feel they can just put this state in the state of ridicule, making comparison, this is not the West and all whatnot. Under normal circumstances, if some of these allegations, we have measures that should be measures that are put in place. If it is the committee of the Senate and others, if these committees are investigating and are checking out things, and then there are facts and figures to some of these issues, all things being equal, you step aside. The deputy Senate president can be presiding. We are not saying you have been removed, but all things being equal, okay, let's clear up the air there on some of these issues, and then we resume work. If the person, because these things can be speedily done, it doesn't take us 1 year, 2 years to sort out these issues. Even within the Senate as an institution, these things can be resolved amicably. So much so that, okay, because you have put up these claims against me, let me step aside and then let's investigate. Let the Senate committee, check out, because it's an institution that has its laws and guidelines on how it can handle some of this kind of crisis. So if the institution is able to use her internal mechanism and sort out this issue, that's fine, without even going to the courts.
Okay.
And then for him to, for the issue of the Peter Obi, you know, Nigeria is our state. Like, people must begin to understand some of these things. It's our common matrimony. It's our project. Nigerian state at the moment is not a property of APC. It's not a property of Tinubu nor Akpabio. It's our common matrimony. It's our house. If it is burning, all of us must try as much as possible to bring fire extinguisher and see how we can quench the fire and make it to stand, because we need that house to survive in it. So if the Nigerian state is not working, it's on us. The onus is on all of us to speak about it, not politicizing the suggestions, complaints, you know, of individuals. So we must be able to be patriotic enough to look at it as a project of progress, not because he has spoken and is a public figure, then you attribute it to politics. What he is saying, is he there? If, for example, he's complaining about insecurity, then we have to look at it objectively. Is there really insecurity? Or he is just trying to create issues where there is no issues? People are dying every now and then. There is insecurity in the country. People no longer go to their farms. And because they cannot go to the farms comfortably, I'm from Taraba, is an agrarian community. Look at the massacre in Plateau. How can a poor man go to the farm to go and farm? And that, by extension, is going to affect our GDP. You cannot go to the farm, we may not be able to produce. We will now have to depend on others who produce from elsewhere for us to buy, devaluing our currency, you know, and affecting us.
All right. Well, I'm going to come to the studio, and of course, your thoughts are totally appreciated. Now, Mr. Peter, Honorable Plivo did say something that struck me. The Senate is an institution on its own. But on this table, quite a number of persons and across some quarters across the country has said Nigeria does not have any strong institution as it stands. Neither do we have strong leadership that can holistically tackle things and situations that bedevils the country. Now, my question to you would be, do you think that the Senate on her own can manage the situation between Senate President and, of course, Senate member Akpati Oduaga? It have been handled internally rather than come out even to the court. And then the second question would be, is the coalition of political parties needed at this time rather than the coalition of Nigerians as against the situation bedeviling us?
Yeah, thank you for the question. The Senate is an institution on paper. But in reality, the Senate is a department of the executive. It is the executive that is controlling and dictating to the Senate what to do.
Mr. Peter, when you say on reality, that is
I say on paper. On paper, it's an institution.
Okay.
But in reality, it is a department, not even an extension, not even an arm. It is a department of the executive. It is the executive that determines what the Senate do or not do. So those organs of the Senate have been compromised. Understand me? Those organs of the Senate have been compromised. They take their decisions from the executive. So in Nigeria, what we have are human beings, individuals who are more powerful than the institutions. And that's why Akpabio is telling you that he will not resign. That's why Akpabio is telling you that he will not resign. Because
step aside.
He will not step aside. Understand me? Because we have individuals institutions are not working in this country. Assuming institutions are working, there could have been checks and balances. Because they are not working. We have individuals who are stronger than the institutions that they are occupying. So the individuals are now the laws. The individuals are now the organs. You heard what that woman said. That Akpabio was telling him, indict this person, say that this person connected the contract from NDDC. Understand me? So these institutions in Nigeria are no more working. Understand? So on the part of coalition, I have said here that people united will never be defeated. So what Nigeria needs at this point in time is a democratic rebellion of the masses.
Okay.
Democratic rebellion. I don't say I use that word. Democratic.
Yeah, I
How can
totally
a rebellious person
understand
be
you.
democratic?
And I think that we need to get clarity on this. Democratic rebellion.
Of the masses.
Of the masses. But
yes.
how much possibility do you see in all of this in a situation where we have diversity in terms of what is priority for people and what their value systems are?
Hunger is a priority to every human being. Hunger is a priority to every human being. Nigerians can unite on hunger. Understand me? Because that you are in PDP or APC, you don't buy fuel cheaper than me.
Right.
Understand me? That you are a Christian or you are a Muslim, there's nowhere they sell food cheaper to Christians or to Muslims. So hunger is a unifier. Suffering is a unifier. This is what can galvanize the people on a democratic rebellion. One of the styles of winning a nation anywhere in the world is outrage, anger. The more angry the people are, the more they want a change.
But for the people who have been brainwashed to
assume but they are still hungry.
For people that have been brainwashed to assume that
not to feel hungry anymore.
No, I mean, I think President Muhammadu Buhari enjoyed the benevolence of Nigerians the most, if you ask me. Because that was one administration that started the degeneration in the lifestyle, the livelihood of Nigerians and how affordable life was for people. And the constant message at the time was, oh, we really need to suffer so that we can enjoy. We really need to pay the price so that we can enjoy. We really need to understand the 9 months process of a pregnant woman before the joy of childbirth comes. So how do you convince a brainwashed generation who believe that your opinion are not theirs and they are hoping that one day things will get better? Because we have a lot to deal with.
Nigeria is changing. Social media is doing a lot. This is no more 20 years ago. Nigeria is changing, but it's changing in arithmetical progression. Understand me? Not in a geometric progression. So that's why you and I are not noticing, but Nigeria is changing. That northern part of the country is changing.
We keep talking about these changes, but I want you to speak more about it, or maybe I should just go to some of our guests online, because the reality is, if we talk about how much the media is putting out to expose the rot in the system, how do you still have politicians host events and have Nigerians come out in numbers? You might call it great protest, but I don't think there is enough to pay somebody that is really angry about a situation that leaves them hungry and angry. Let me come to you, Mr. Obina. Let me get your reaction.
All right. The situation in Nigeria is becoming beyond redeemable because we are people that have certain tendencies and our own nature are people who are easily gullible. That's the nature of Nigerian and African extension. So, and because of that, the politicians, they know how to manipulate the general public. They use the imaginary difference among Nigerians to hold them in captivity. They use, first and foremost, the tribal differences, ethnicity, and they use religion. Religion is not as strong as ethnicity. They use the tribal differences to manipulate the general masses. And as you can see right now, no matter how much you know that someone, a candidate, is good for the country, most of Nigerians, so far as it's not from their tribe, they will tell you, he's good, but I prefer someone who is my tribe, even if he's a thief. So that is the tendency that you get in Nigeria, and that is why the situation is irredeemable. I don't see a situation whereby, like my gentleman, Peter Anosike said, that hungry people can come together if they're hungry. But now, among those hungry people, what the politicians do, the power that is holding the Nigerians in captivity, among the hungry people, they will give some fish or food to few. And that few who are also of equal level with the rest of the people, we now know how to manipulate the rest. So it's called a divide and rule system. And that is a very big one, because now that Tinubu came in power, he used the removal of fuel subsidy to say, which have been campaigning that he should restore officially. So he used that to further impoverish most of the population of Nigeria. So Nigerians are living far beyond poverty level. More people are hungry than those that eat on a daily basis. So when situation is like that, people are desperate. When they are desperate, among them, few of them, give the community president general some money, give the monarchs some money, give some, among few top people, give them some money, they will be able to control the rest of their peers. And it becomes impossible, so to say, to, gather a momentum that could change the status quo.
Okay.
So that is why it's a very big problem we have in Nigeria right now.
Okay.
As you can see right now, people are now moving from one political party to the other, not for anything but for benefit.
All right. Now,
and for protection.
I'm going to come to Honorable Felix Pulevo right now, and as we wrap up this particular conversation in seconds, how do you think Nigerians can do better from where we are now? Because from where we all stand, I mean, it's more like it's a unanimous agreement here that Nigerians are being shortchanged. I was trying to use the word weaponized poverty. Oh, unfortunately, we understand that Honorable Pulevo is no more with us virtually, but he's going to join us. I'm going to come to you, Mr. Peter. How can we get this right? Because the political elites have weaponized poverty to the point that Nigerians now easily fall for the most minute of things. Last 2 weeks ago, we spoke about Peter Obi saying that young Nigerians have been given 20,000 naira to go against people that are fighting for them. How can Nigerians easily do better from here on?
Well, for me, the struggle is not in our DNA. The struggle is not in our DNA. We did not struggle for independence, and it is affecting us up to today. And we continue to.
You think we did not struggle?
We didn't struggle for independence.
Or we didn't struggle enough?
We didn't struggle. Can you mention any Nigerian that went to jail or was killed fighting for independence? Maybe
there was so much on table for the colonial masters.
What they were doing was a round table.
Exactly. Maybe there was so much about the country that
in Kenya there was a Mau. Understand me?
Right. Yeah.
Understand me?
Yeah.
So all these people, that struggle was in them. Our own, you dress in a suit, carry fire, go and begin that comfortably.
So that's comfortable negotiation is the reason why we're not even thinking of
at all.
But Mr. Anosike, do you think it's about not struggling, or the fact that we have too many tribes, tongues, people, diversity put together in one country? and unification might be a bit difficult.
America is one of the most diversified people in the world. Every ethnic group has their own people in the United States. They are still saying one thing and doing one thing. Nigerians have a 5 character.
Saying one thing and doing the same thing.
In America.
Protests never cease to happen in America, no matter who is in power.
That's because they don't care who is there.
So when you say they are doing the same thing and saying one thing, I mean, there will always be that diversity.
There's nobody that criticizes Donald Trump more than Mary, his own sister. Understand me?
Yeah.
There's nobody that she was even talking how stubborn Donald Trump was in his stance.
So even with their diversity, they can still criticize.
Understand me?
So that's what I'm saying. I think you are just not getting the point. What I'm saying is that diversity will always come to play, because even America, as large as it is and as much as we feel like it's a system that works, people get to protest every time because there would always be difference in their thoughts, values, and what they want. The expectations will always be different. So I think that is where we are also.
No, our own is a different issue. There's no, in America, ethnicity, religion, the religion does not play any role.
You think so?
At all. It doesn't play any role. In Nigeria, 2023, somebody that was telling me that he don't like Tinubu, but he's a Yoruba and cannot leave a Yoruba and go and vote for another person.
Wow.
Understand me? So that's the kind of sentiment that is here.
But don't you think this sentiment spread across board? Don't you have northerners that say that, oh, our preference is Atiku Abubakar because he's our brother? Don't you think that there are people that also prefer the Peter Obi because it's their brother? We saw the results of the election, and it reflected the sentiments of the people.
Excuse me. In 2003, Muhammadu Buhari ran with Chuba Okadibo,
right?
A prominent Igbo man.
Yeah.
Igbos voted for Atiku Obasanjo.
Okay.
Do you see it?
No, you only reflect. I only responded to what happened in 2023 and the claim that somebody said this, because I think that 2023 was the most contested in terms of top the participants in that election. Looking at, even though you would say Kwakwanso only had Kano State, but it was a top contender. We had the Southeast for Peter Obi, we had Atiku Abubakar, and we had Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So in response to that particular election, I totally understand how the people voted for, even when it was Obasanjo and Olufalaye in 1999, people chose who they wanted to vote for. But let's move on from that story, moving on to the next story. Well, 5 arrested over abduction and murder of 1-year-old in Kano State. A very sad story, trust me. But we'll discuss this when we return from the break. Stay with us.
Step into a world where stories unfold, secrets unravel, and dreams come alive. Every story has a legacy. Every legacy holds the power to inspire. A unique interview series that celebrates the lives of Nigeria's elder statesmen and women through their remarkable journeys in the military, diplomacy, public service, academia, medicine, and beyond. Conversation that transcends.
You stay with us on the Morning Buzz on VOP TV, the station that speaks the mind of Nigerians. Well, in Kano State, authorities have confirmed the arrest of 5 suspects in connection with the heartbreaking kidnapping and murder of a 1-year-old girl, Sakina Mahmuda, in Duhumbake village, Gwazo LGA. And the suspects, all from the victim's community, reportedly abducted the child, demanded ransom, and later dumped her body in an abandoned well after collecting the money. Kano State Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Aruna Issa Dederi, disclosed the chilling details during a press briefing on Thursday. describing the suspect's action as beyond comprehension and deeply disturbing. The accused are now in DSS custody and face charges of criminal conspiracy, kidnapping, and homicide. On the part of the governor, Akpabio Yesufu, he condemned the act as a tragedy that has deeply shaken the state, praising the DSS for swift action. He also assured the public of full justice while vowing to bolster intelligence gathering and strengthen interagency collaboration to prevent further occurrences. Well, a very sad story, you would agree with me, but we still have in the studio with us this morning Peter Anosike, BOP in-house analyst, a political commentator. Joining us virtually from Australia is Mr. Obinna Ejiaya, Nigerian media entrepreneur, CEO of 9 Communications Nigeria Limited. So, it's a sad situation. And let me come to you, Mr. Anosike. How do you even react to this? How did we get here? To what end kidnapping a 1-year-old? I mean, within the same vicinity. These are not even strangers. Within the same vicinity, so you wake up to target a 1-year-old for kidnap, demand ransom, collected the money, and still killed the child.
For me, the news has spoiled my morning because I don't know how to this thing start. Because one, these people, it could be driven by hunger. When somebody is hungry, you cannot think well. Understand? When somebody is hungry, logic disappears. So this is a very sad situation. And I'm happy that they have been arrested and that justice should take its course.
Okay, I'm going to continue with you, Mr. Peter. When you say when you're hungry, logic disappears, it's not about the first time anybody is hungry in the country. You've been around for a while, and when I say that, I mean by age. Sometime in 1999, maybe up to the first 2000s, this kind of crime, were they visible, even in our democratic setting?
Well, before, I never believed that Nigerians will go into suicide bombing. Because I know that one of Nigerians love life more than any other people in the world.
Right.
So it was strange for me hearing that Nigeria as a suicide bomber want to kill himself because we live on hope. Nigerians live on hope. So a lot of things, this democracy brought a lot of good and bad. Because what we are experiencing now, that we've never had it before, I've never had, even up to 2010, that people could sell their own children. Wow. Understand me? A woman brought her child in the market in Port Harcourt, 2.5 million. People were pricing in Nigeria.
Okay, that's quite sad, but let's come to Mr. Obinna from Australia. Let's get your reaction first before we even take some follow-up questions on this. How do you react to this sad story?
I just want to compliment, appreciate the work did by the DSS. I went through the story and I was happy that the DSS went into action and were able to save the situation by arresting the culprits. So, and I spoke to myself and said, this is how it should be. If criminals are, always followed after and apprehended, the proliferation of crime won't be to this height in Nigeria. But there's kind of impunity where people, you and me, even here in Australia, people from Nigeria, they send me videos of people who commit crime, heinous crimes, and put them on social media openly, showing their faces, where they're killing human beings, where they're committing many things, and And that shows you how much impunity people are enjoying over there in Nigeria.
Okay.
People would.
Go
Okay,
ahead.
so I was going to ask a follow-up question, reacting to Mr. Anosike's opinion. Do you think that hunger is enough for anyone to go into some kind of heartless businesses? Because this is beyond crime, this is wickedness.
Yes, that is human nature. That is human nature. When people are hungry, like very hungry, you can, I think Anosike is from the southeast, and he will bear me witness of the stories we heard during Biafran War. There was so much hunger to the extent that the soldiers and people were also, sometimes they would test the remains of their fellow soldiers because they were looking for food. When someone is very hungry, I mean starving, not just for one day, for a prolonged period of time, they can eat anything.
All right. Now,
that is human nature.
I like the fact that we've come to this part of the conversation, and I'm going to still stay with you, Mr. Obinna. Again, a lot of persons have said Nigeria as a nation has too many to be very poor. That's where we are. And when I say too many, I mean natural resources, human resources. But unfortunately, Nigeria lacks institutions that are strong enough to handle her people. A country of over 250 million persons seem to be huge by number. And of course, the vast majority of this figure are young people. Brain drain, like you would know, is another interesting conversation in all of this. Let's talk to the part of institution not being strong enough. And I'm talking from the executives, the judiciary, and of course the parliament. How can this really be corrected? And how can we manage to use what we have to earn better? I'll give you a clear example of where I'm going to. In Ghana, before now, the issue of illegal gold mining, I'm talking about what they popularly call galamsey, has been reduced by 10% as a result of the new president that just took over power a couple of months ago. And of course, he did mention his 100 days in office social contract that he said he was going to really deal with and get done with. A lot of developments have been in that part of the country. Let's also go to Burkina Faso. Captain Ibrahim Traore has been doing amazingly well, that even the White House is inviting him to have a conversation. Again, Nigeria, 250 million people, as, of course, a country, yet no strong institution. What do you think can be done to correct all of this?
Well, that's a very good, intelligent question that should be asked anywhere on media nationwide. Where are we going to? Why are we here? What should we do to get out of it? So the Nigerian situation is a very pathetic one, and I must owe it to the leadership. We have not gotten a leader who is selfless. So I blame leadership, because when you have a good leader, he will lay the example that the rest will follow. So right now, what we have are a bunch of politicians who are desperately wicked, and all they care about is the welfare of themselves, their families, and their folks, their friends. So that's what we have. And when you have such situation, there is presence of impunity. There is presence of chronic corruption, where people do things knowing that they are friends of the leader, or they are a colleague of the leader. And they get away with whatever they do. And when you have an institution, I will call Nigeria an institution, I will use an institution as a word for it, so that it becomes easily accessible and comprehensible. When you have an institution, that lacks a good leadership, what happens is that the followership goes, in one direction. They do whatever they want to do. It's just like you have a company and you just make it a family affair. You don't look for competence. You look for relationship. You employ your siblings and your siblings' children in that company. There will be absolute impunity and lack of accountability. And in that situation, the company or that institution is destined for collapse.
Quite an
definitely.
unfortunate one, really. Quite an unfortunate one.
Yeah.
I'm going to come to the studio. Mr. Peter, same question. How can we get this right? And I saw quite another sad one. I saw another headline right there at the front page of the Saturday Independence. If our producers are ready, let's have that front page up. Exposed. Story of slave camp called Ondo School for the Blind. A school for the blind. Now, this school can be compared to a prison yard. Now, this is coming from an ex-student in that school, the School of the Blind, compared to a slave camp. Nigeria as a nation, how can we get the institutions working right? You did say earlier that the Senate is now a department of the federal.
Of the executive.
Of the executive.
Yes. Yes.
How can we get this right? Really?
I have said on this program that there are no poor countries. What we have is failure in resource management. That's what is happening in Nigeria. Failure in resource management. The tariff that Donald Trump is issuing everywhere, Tinubu can issue that tariff. Understand me? Because we're a population of 250 million people. America is 350. Why Donald Trump has that boldness to issue that tariff is because they have a very large population. And population means market. Understand me? When you have the numbers by your side, you can decree. But because we don't have competent people who knows how to manage the resources, who knows how to harness both our natural and human resources. Because people are complaining that Nigeria is too big, Nigeria is too big. Understand me?
Yeah.
Texas is bigger than Nigeria with regard to land mass. California has the same land mass with Nigeria. And America is 50 states being ruled by one man.
Okay.
So our problem is not our diversity. Our problem is not our population. Our problem is bad leadership. We've not gotten leaders that can harness our population and turn it into productivity. We've not gotten leaders that can harness our natural resources and turn it into productivity. That's our major problem. So for us to move from point A to point B, we need a mind shift. Understand me? We need
a country or for the political elite?
Both the ideas come from the top.
Okay.
Understand me? When those at the top are doing well, people under them must start doing well.
But the people at the top are a reflection of the people beneath.
Exactly.
No, we talk about leadership by example.
Okay.
Understand me? If the general manager of VOP enters this studio and pick a broom and begin that to sweep, you must look for a broom.
To sweep.
You cannot fold hand and watch the GM sweep.
Right.
But don't you think that our leaders are a reflection of an average Nigerians? I mean, to add to what he has said, I don't think anybody was born a president. I don't think anybody was born a local government chairman or a councillor. The society builds people. And the society also decides when it comes to primaries from political level, when they say politics is local, the people within your ward get to nominate in most cases to say, okay, this is the person representing us. So is that not a reflection of what our society actually holds in high esteem.
Being a leader means a problem solver. A leader being is a problem solver. A leader and the people don't think the same thing. The masses think of problem. Leaders think of solution.
But the people elect their leaders.
Once you become a leader, you have moved from a chicken to an eagle.
But perspective, how does perspective reflect in the style of leadership? Because when you talk about a Muhammadu Buhari, you would see where he's coming from in what matters to him. When you talk about a Goodluck Jonathan, you will see his journey in what matters to his administration. As a matter of fact, his personality, talking about not wanting the blood of people because of his ambition, will show a bit of reflection of a teacher that has connection with the people. The background of Olusegun Obasanjo as a military person was reflected on how he went all out on the Ogoni people. So there is a perspective that comes from who you are, what your value systems are, and how you then put it out to the people.
Once you become a leader, there must be a change of mindset.
Okay.
There must be a change of, you cannot continue with that same mentality.
But that's how, okay, so how do you put all the arms of government in governance? Because that's why we have the presidency, we have the legislature, we have the judiciary. And people voted people into the Senate, we voted people into the House of Assembly. Personally, I would say that prior to the elections, my stance was the fact that if Nigerians take as important the presidency, how much importance they put into who become the governor or the president, into who becomes the senator representing them, the man representing their constituency, Nigeria might be a better place, because nothing can happen single-handedly by the president if we have a house that works. So at the end of the day, the system is kind of reflecting what the majority of the citizens want. We have a house that has people from different political parties, but nothing is being done differently.
What is happening in Senegal? What is happening in Burkina Faso? Understand me? The president of Senegal said, don't put my pictures in your offices. Understand? Put the picture of your family. As we are seeing them, know that you are working for their future. Has anybody in Nigeria said such a thing?
It's not about pictures. It's not
no,
about pictures.
No.
But it does have
no, for me, I think it's about what their values are in Senegal.
That's the value
this is
now.
a local problem. We cannot continue to bring
I think he has responded by saying,
a Nigerian can have your picture.
I think he has responded
A Nigerian
by saying,
can have your picture and still go ahead to hurt you.
I think a
Nigerian that is bothered about his brother will not go about selling adulterated drinks, medicine, and will still do evil and go to church on Sunday or go to mosque on Friday.
He said a couple of minutes ago that what Nigeria needs is a total mind shift.
That's what I'm saying. It's for Nigerians, not just our leaders now.
That's critically key, because when Nigerians have...
He said leaders, not Nigerians. He said leaders. He said once you become a leader, you should have a change of mindset. But I am saying that we need this to happen from bottom to top and from top to bottom. We have a system problem.
I'm going to come to you, Mr. Obinna. Again, one interesting conversation which Mr. Peter Anosike said here is on resource control. This has been something that has been critically strong amongst us as a people. Do you think if a state is able to manage her resource carefully, there might just be some level of development happening across our states? Or do you think, in the line of our in-house analysts here, that a mind shift for Nigerians is needed at a time like this?
First of all, before ever we'll get it right, I was happy just enjoying the arguments going on there in the studio. And it's what we should be engaging on. I've been campaigning for media, transparency, so that the media will really play their role as as intermediary between those in leadership and the poor masses. If the media play their role, I think there will be a big change. So, having said that, we really need, before we get it right, we must change our mindset. We must, people Nigerians as a people must change the way we think. That's why I said that the problem is in our nature. We are too gullible. People will go, like right now, ethnic or tribal sentiment is very endemic in us. We still hold in high esteem the tribe where we come from. And because of that, like the lady said, because of that, during election, we encourage people of questionable characters to take the helm of affairs, to take to be at the helm of affairs, to be at the leadership position when they should not be there. Because, of course, what they will dish out to you when they become the leader is who they are. So, and Nigeria has not gotten that competence of bringing down a leader who is not getting it right. Okay. So we enable bad leadership. We as a people, by our nature, we enable incompetence and we enable bad leadership. So we as a people are the enablers of the bad leaders. We enable them by our nature of being gullible to what they tell us, divide and rule, which right now the one that works better is tribalism. They use the tribe. Whereas, like some of us said, whereas here in Australia, there's so much, the diversity here is even much more in Nigeria. Can you imagine that here in Australia, I don't want to talk of America, which I know also, or UK. Can you imagine that in Nigeria we have, how many tribes do we have in Nigeria? That is our problem. The diversity is not the problem. The problem is the mindset of the people itself. Because the whole tribes you have in Nigeria are all here in Australia. Including Hispanics, including Caucasians, including Indians, including Asians of different tribes and countries.
Sir.
But they manage all those diversities and still make progress. So it's not about the diversity that we have in Nigeria. It's about the mindset of the people.
What a way to wrap up this conversation. Thank you so very much, Mr. Obinna. I would also urge you to stay with us where I would jump to the trends that we'll be talking about this morning. One thing that I get clearly in all of this conversation is that the society prepares the crime, the people commits the crime. But as a people, we should have a major mind shift. All right, quickly, let's take a very, very short break. When we return, we'll be looking at trends that did, of course, happen both yesterday night and maybe early hours of this morning. You want to stay with us? We'll be right back. Stay with us. Glad to have you back. Let's jump on to trends and just not waste much of our time on that. An 8-year-old apprentice in Anambra State has reportedly impregnated 10 girls. 18-year-old apprentice in Anambra State has reportedly impregnated 10 girls within 5 months, including his master's daughter and a sales girl, prompting concerns from the state's Commissioner for Women and Social Welfare, Ife Obinabo. The young man was dismissed from his apprenticeship after his initial 2 conquests, only to return to his village where he allegedly impregnated 8 more girls. In a live social media broadcast on Wednesday, Commissioner Obinabo said the situation has spiraled beyond her capacity to manage, describing it as deeply troubling and possibly spiritual. She shared that the boy's mother, overwhelmed by fear and embarrassment, had sought the ministry's help, saying, anytime I see a girl coming towards our house, nowadays my heart would jump. The unnamed teen claimed he simply professed love and promised marriages to win over the girls. With growing public concerns and no clear path forward, Obinabo has called on the public and relevant stakeholders to offer solutions to what she described as crisis requiring urgent social, moral, and possibly spiritual intervention. Now, I'm going to let in our two guests have 30 seconds each on this conversation while I let them go to their busy day. First, I'm going to start with you, Mr. Obina. What is your take on this situation of this young
man? It's so funny, and I don't have much to say about it. It's a relationship issue. If there's a consent between him and those girls that he's impregnating, he's helping Nigeria to become more populous. That's what I have to say.
Okay, that was quite laughable for me, but it's not really laughable because the situation in the country, I mean, shouldn't even warrant anybody to go into that angle. I'm sorry, my opinion anyways. But then, thank you so very much for your take. Mr. Peter, let's come to you as well.
Well,
you think he's trying to do the job of his
father? He wanted to beat a two-face record.
How did stray bullet hit two-face in all of this?
Number one, he tried to beat a two-face record. Then number two, the girls are idiots. Understand me? How can an 18-year-old boy who is not doing anything, who's an apprentice, promise you marriage?
It's love first. He said he will come and marry them when he makes it.
When he makes it?
Yeah, that's what he said. He said he always promised them love. He always said them that he loved them. Then he now promised them that when he has money, when he finally makes it in life, he will come and marry them. I think it's the perseverance people have been teaching our girls that don't look after money, don't go for the money, don't be materialistic. And the girls would necessarily do not have to know that there's another girl. So you know, if you are on social media and you are like, oh, this person went after money, and a lot of people have been condemning the person, a young girl might just want to be stupid enough to feel like, because it can't be me, it cannot be anybody in my generation.
Well, this is where we have to draw the curtain this beautiful morning on a Saturday morning, boys. Many thanks to everyone who's been a part of it. But first, let me also appreciate our analysts for this beautiful morning. We've been talking with Mr. Peter Anosike, who is Voice of the People TV's in-house political affairs commentator, and of course an economist by profession, and of course virtually joining us all the way from Australia was Mr. Obina Ejinaya, who also is a Nigerian media entrepreneur and the CEO of 9 Communications Nigeria Limited. Gentlemen, once again, thank you so very much for being a part of this conversation.
Thank you for having us.
It's my pleasure.
All right, we gotta go.
Thank you.
We gotta go. First off, let me come to you before I play. In the words of somebody that I know, your gender needs to tell us how they manage things in their head.
Because we wake up very younger.
On behalf of my friend, on behalf of myself and my colleague Olufunke Jayesimi, Adefunke Jayesimi,
and of course, beautiful producers behind the
amazing producers behind the scenes. We want to say thank you so much for being a part of these conversations. Let's do this again next week, Saturday. And of course, let's continue this conversation online. Thank you so very much. And of course, have an amazing weekend ahead. God bless Nigeria.
God bless.